leggermente in ritardo causa traffico perché sono iniziati i famosi tube strikes. E allora a tal proposito noi ci colleghiamo insieme a Simon Pirani. Iniziamo subito con questo collegamento per capire effettivamente se un giorno sarà possibile avere dei bus e delle metropolitane gratuite qui a Londra. A quanto pare Simon Pirani di Fare Free London is campaigning about this topic. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Simon. So, well, tube strikes began yesterday, but causing even today inconvenient travel for most people. Now the wish of many passengers is basically traveling for free. How can that be possible?
Well, it would mean changing the funding basis for Transport for London. The transport system in London relies on fares for most of its revenue. The other big cities, for example, Paris has a payroll tax. New York has a whole variety of taxes. Hong Kong has a great system, which is land value capture. So when we saw the Elizabeth line being built and all the flats going up right by the stations, those companies the analogous companies in Hong Kong, they're properly taxed. They have to pay to build in those sites. So there are different ways of funding the system, and we say that London's is funding it the wrong way, and that it's charging. The London metro system is one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive in the world. It does not need to be like that. It's absolutely possible. We've seen it in many cities across the world. It's absolutely possible to run the public transport system for free. So that's what we're advocating.
Ecco, quello che sta dicendo Simon in questo momento è che è possibile fare una cosa del genere perché altre città hanno già attuato questo cambiamento e bisognerebbe ristrutturare l'intera strategia di finanziamento del Transport for London. In questo momento pensate che la metropolitana, secondo gli ultimi dati, è quella più costosa in tutto il mondo, e in tutto questo hanno ricavato circa oltre 5 billion pounds they received actually from passengers fare in the last year, and is going to be even more next year because the tube is still rising its cost. So you mentioned so many cities, but I mean, every city is different with its whole dynamics. So I was wondering if there is any particular city most comparable to London where public transport is free.
So as many of your listeners will know, Genoa, after the accident in, I think it was 2018, introduced free metro during the rush hour and then spread it so that the metro is now free at all times of day. So that's an Italian example. Now, of course, Genoa is smaller than London. And if we look across the world, there are many, many cities that are smaller than London that have brought in free public transport. In Brazil, there are 130 cities with free public transport. In Europe, we have Luxembourg, the whole of Luxembourg, but also the capital cities of Estonia, of Serbia, cities in France, and so on. Now, of course, if we did this in London, that would be the first really big city to do it. But it's possible. We have the candidate for the mayoralty of New York, Zoran Mamdani, who's very likely to be elected as mayor. He's talking about free bus travel. Now, we in Fare Free London, we understand that this is not easy, but we think the gains that you can get out of it, it's great for social equality in London, where we have a large number of very poor households who really suffer from the amount they have to pay, not only for rent and for food, but also for transport. We think it's a measure which would help on climate and air pollution. What we're saying to the mayor is appoint a commission that can look at this problem for a big city and figure out how to do it. Because we know that if there's a will, there's a way to do this.
Ecco, abbiamo chiesto a Simon se c'è una città che in questo momento ha dei trasporti pubblici gratuiti ed è simile alla città di Londra. Ha fatto l'esempio di Genova, che dopo il crollo del famoso ponte poi ha reso la metropolitana gratuita per tutta la città. È vero, Genova è una città piccola, però ci sono tante altre città d'Europa che hanno attuato questo tipo di servizio pubblico, because it's a public service actually. The public transport is a service for people, and that's why a lot of our listeners are very concerned about the cost, but also the efficiency, because the tube of London and even the buses are not running as before. That's why they are saying to us, especially during some lives. And now the thing is, don't you think that by making the public transport free, it means that then we have to pay for other services or taxes more because the transport is free, basically?
Well, the money obviously has to come from somewhere, but
Yeah.
we've got a long tradition in this country of the welfare state, where the money is collected through taxes, and to my mind, that would mean more taxes on corporations and the most wealthy people. In London, the cost of property in London is absolutely sky high. It's one of the most expensive cities in the world. Much more could be done to tax that property. I mean, we don't have a view as a campaign. We're a campaign group. We grew out of the campaign also to try to persuade the mayor not to build the Silvertown Tunnel, which we thought was a terrible waste of money. We thought it was a really bad transport project. So we were campaigning on that. We're now campaigning on this, and we don't have a campaign view about how the money has to be raised. But there are ways to raise money. There are ways to raise money to fund public services, whether it's the health service, whether it's the parks, the libraries, the different services that local government provide, or whether it's public transport. I think what we need is a shift of mind back to what you spoke about, public service. This is a service to the city. So what do they do in Paris? They have a metro, they have buses, and they tax the companies that are employing those workers who come into Paris every morning. They tax those companies through a payroll tax in order to, that's the main item of funding for the metro. The metro is not free in Paris, but it's a lot cheaper than it is in London.
But
so it's
what about
shifting the basis of funding?
What about then the salaries of those people working in the tube? I mean, the salaries will be the same. I mean, this would mean that in the future we're not going to have any strikes. Do you think it could help avoiding any strikes on tube and buses?
I think that the way to solve the problem of the strikes is to treat those workers as essential staff who are needed. The people who are on strike today include the station staff. They're earning 44,000 a year, but that's only when they've been in that job for a number of years. So if you or I went to become a station attendant tomorrow without the necessary training, we'd start on £38,000 a year. In London, that's not a lot. The median salary for people earning salaries in London is 61,000. So that's not a lot, and that's far more than the cleaners who work in these outsourced companies for Transport for London, who are on little more than the minimum wage. So I've got a lot of sympathy with those staff who are striking, especially because they've had some good settlements over the last few years for their pay. But you know, the cost of living in London, according to the Trust for London research group, the cost of living in London has gone up 30% in the last 5 years. Now, of course, the costs everywhere have gone up because of inflation, but that's about rent. That's about property.
Yeah.
So something really needs to be done about the cost of property in London.
So, quello che ha detto Simon è che sicuramente i soldi devono arrivare da qualche parte per poter finanziare la Transport for London nel caso veramente dovesse diventare gratuita. Anzi, fateci sapere al nostro WhatsApp lo 0792 66 23 977 cosa ne pensate, se credete possa essere una cosa che è possibile nel futuro. Certamente l'idea sarebbe quello di tassare i più ricchi, ma anche chi ha nelle mani diverse proprietà, perché attualmente investire e spendere per una proprietà a Londra in modo particolare, sappiamo che gli affitti sono veramente alti, quindi chi detiene il monopolio dell'immobiliare può essere ulteriormente tassato, ma anche da altre aziende che investono qui in Gran Bretagna. In merito invece agli strike, agli scioperi, have you actually seen any cities in Europe that have free public transport where actually the number of strikes has decreased once they became free?
I don't know about the
Right.
number of strikes. I don't have that information, but what I do know is that where they've introduced free public transport, the cities have continued to invest in the system and made it better. I think there was a fear that if the income wasn't there from fares, the investment would go down. But what the research shows is that in cities in France in particular, but Estonia as well, is that once they've made it free, the city authorities have got their act together and they've continued to invest to improve the system to give that public service that we were speaking about.
Perfetto, non ha i numeri in questo momento, però ha notato, secondo le ultime ricerche, che in quei paesi, in quelle città dove il trasporto è gratis, le città hanno comunque mantenuto l'impegno di investire in questo servizio pubblico affinché si evitassero in futuro anche gli scioperi. So what's going to happen, Simon, on 27th of September with Fare Free London?
Right. Well, we've got our annual meeting on that day. It's a public event. Any of your listeners are welcome to come. If they look us up on the internet, they'll find us there, and they can book up to come to the meeting. We're going to be in Waterloo. We're going to hear from Daniel Santini, who's a researcher in Sao Paulo in Brazil, about the very large number of cities there that have public transport. And then we're going to have a panel discussion with we'll have people there from the trade unions, we'll have people there from the community groups and environmentalists. We'll have Caroline Russell, who's a member of the London Assembly from the Green Party, and we'll be talking about how to take this campaign forward, because we think free public transport, it would open the city up to all the people who live there. I mean, your listeners can ask their friends don't forget, we've got millions of Londoners, me included, who have a free pass because of our age, over 60. And your listeners can try asking their older family members, how did they feel on the day they got that freedom pass, as it's called? It's terrific. It's great. It opens up the city. So, of course, there are difficulties. We're not saying this is going to be easy, but the advantages of having a free system would be really enormous, and it would help with London's air pollution problem, and it would help with the climate policy, which is obviously a long-standing and a worry for us all.
How to join you on 27?
Yeah, so just like I said, look us up on the internet, farefreelondon.org, and then it's very simple. You register through Eventbrite like anybody does for such an occasion, and come. It's just in the morning, 10 o'clock until 1 o'clock at Waterloo, at the Waterloo Action Centre. It's right by Waterloo Station, and any of your listeners would be very, very welcome.
Well, depending on the public transport, of course. Thank you very much, Simon, for being with us today. And of course, everyone hope to have free public transport. Thank you very much.
Molto grazie. Thank you.
Ciao. E naturalmente noi continuiamo, quindi il 27 settembre chi vuole partecipare a Waterloo c'è l'assemblea di Fair Free London, ci saranno diversi esponenti anche della London Assembly per capire come poter rendere questa campagna effettiva e portare un progetto che possa in qualche modo convincere il governo a cambiare idea nell'avere il public transport for free, completamente gratuito. Le notizie non sono finite, la rassegna stampa continua, ma chiudiamo la finestra della radiovisione per continuare sempre in diretta radio e in radiovisione su TikTok, quindi mi raccomando a tra poco con tutti gli ultimi approfondimenti dal Regno Unito. State con noi e scriveteci anche allo 0792 6623 977.
A Napoli basta un gesto per offrire il meglio di sé e quando si vuole il meglio, i napoletani sanno cosa scegliere. Kimbo.
E che devo dire che fa? È Kimbo, tutta Napoli in un caffè.